Here's a fun meme add-on idea for every killer in DBD. Over the years there's been a decline when it comes to meme or simply fun or silly add-ons, so I wanted to correct that today. Let's get into it. Trapper's add-on is called Rubber Boots. This add-on makes it so whenever you walk over a trap, it shuts if it's open and opens if it's shut. This could lead to some great moments, but also really frustrating ones. It also has a cooldown of 5 seconds, so you can't just keep going back and forth over the trap, and you can no longer manually set traps, only pick up and move them. You have to walk over them instead to set them. This would lead to some fun moments though, where you're able to set a trap on the go, but it could also work against you, deactivating traps as you try to give chase. Wraith's add-on is called Meat Clapper. This add-on makes it so when you ring your bell, the bell will sound not from your position, but instead a random survivor's, a bit like you're transferring the bell sound onto them. This could lead to some funny moments where you ring your bell during the match and scare survivors who are just working on gens. Billy's add-on is called Nitro Oil. This add-on allows Billy to move at a 50% greater speed than usual during his chainsaw sprint. However, he isn't able to change direction at all. This means that once you've started your sprint in a direction, you cannot change the direction you're going in. This could lead to incredibly fast downs, but also zooming way past the survivor you're intending to hit and creating some fun moments. Nurse's add-on is called Broken Syringe and makes it so she can no longer blink through walls. The benefit to this though is that after blinking through a window or over a pallet, she gets a blink back in return, allowing her to maneuver around loops still, just in a very different way to her usual movement. So no more blinking through walls, but now you can recharge your blinks by blinking over windows or pallets, basically forcing Nurse to play by the rules. Maya's add-on is called Boogeyman Mask, and this aims to make Maya's lore accurate, truly lore accurate. In the films, Maya's first has to stalk before he goes in for a kill, and actually takes a lot of time in the film before he attacks. I think over half the runtime before he even goes for Lori. Therefore, this add-on makes it so in order to kill a survivor, you must stalk them fully of their energy, which takes 90 seconds of straight stalking, and this is per survivor as well. Stalking only works if the survivor doesn't see you, but you are now able to stalk from any distance. This mechanic could work similar to Unknown's power. Once they are fully drained of their energy, you're able to instantly mori them regardless of health state, so lore accurate Myers. A Hag's add-on is called Grandma's Blood and plays into the idea of her needing blood to empower herself. With this add-on, you start off the trial with just one trap. You're only able to get more traps by successfully landing post-trap hits. Each time you do, you receive another trap, and this can go on and above the usual number of 10, allowing you to grow increasingly powerful for each drop of blood you get. So you could be a hag with like 50 traps by the end, if you manage to get 50 trap hits. Doctor's add-on is called Tangled Wires. This makes it so you, as the Doctor, now also see and hear all hallucinations that the survivors do, basically making yourself crazy as well. The upside to this is that it could come in for a somewhat tactical advantage, as you're able to actually see what the survivors are, letting you play off of that. Also just somewhat lore accurate, I guess, too. Huntress's add-on is called Mother's Hatchet, and it essentially gives Huntress boomerang hatchets. You now start off the trial with just one hatchet. However, if you land your hatchet hit, then the hatchet gets returned to you. This allows you to, in theory, eternally throw your hatchets and get them back, if you have perfect accuracy. It also heavily punishes you though for missing, forcing you to go and reload. I think this would be a lot of fun. Maybe a bit overpowered with Eerie Head though. Bubba's add-on is called Self-Made Chilli, a chili made by Bubba instead of the cook. This add-on makes Bubba's chainsaw more powerful, however it only gets more powerful by him first injuring survivors. For each survivor that's injured, Bubba can charge his chainsaw 4% faster, and his chainsaw sweeps last 10% longer. With all 4 survivors injured, this would allow for a 16% faster charge speed and 40% longer duration. Of course, it does first require you to make the survivors injured though, which is generally counterproductive to your power. Freddy's add-on is called Strand of Nancy's Hair and removes your ability to place down or activate fake pallets. However, it fills every empty pallet slot in the trial that isn't a real pallet with a fake one. The kicker is you can't tell which is which as the killer, so there's gonna be a billion pallets, but you don't know which one is real or fake, same as the survivors. Pig has the add-on Chopped Pork. This add-on makes it so your ambush attack now insta-downs, however it takes 50% longer to charge. This means you really need to have the element of surprise, but it would equally lead to some great moments and be very satisfying to hit an insta-down with the ambush. Clowns is kind of silly and is called Poorly Brewed Tonic. This add-on simply makes it so pink bottles affect you too, so they also slow you down. However, they are 20% more effective towards survivors, so you get stunned and distorted too, but it does affect the survivors more. You just have to be careful where you place or throw this. Spirit's add-on is called Shattered Blade Hilt and makes it so if you hit a survivor within a second of exiting your phase, so you have to be very accurate with your phasing, your blade will shatter on impact and splinter into any other survivor within 12 meters, also damaging them, or deep wounding them if they're injured. The idea being that you're swinging your blade and the fractured pieces splinter out and hit the others. Legion's add-on is called Wanted Poster, and allows Legion to go into a stealth mode on command. After activating this, they'll put their blade away, their terror radius disappears, and they now move and function like a survivor would. You still look like a Legion member, but now you can do any of the survivor actions you please. This is meant to be a sort of stealth add-on, but also a deception one for newer players who might not understand you're the killer. Whilst in this mode you can't attack, but you can grab people off of gens, taking them by surprise. Plagues is called Party Vomit. Much like Clown's Party Bottle, it alters the effects of the vomit colours, meaning your green vomit now does damage and your red will infect. This aims to hopefully confuse survivors and throw them off from what's happening. Ghostface has the add-on Precision Lens, which lets him stalk survivors without alerting them. Ghosty is able to mark survivors and expose them as usual, only they won't know and will have nothing pop up on the HUD to show them they've been exposed. The downside here, there's gotta be one, is that marking the survivors now takes twice as long to do, and will slowly regress if you stop stalking them. I like this idea as it's almost like a true stealth or lore-accurate Ghostface, where he remains undetected and doesn't alert the survivor. Demogorgon's is called Strange Thigh Meat, and allows Demo to use its enhanced supernatural thighs to leap twice as far when high up on an elevation. So currently you can sort of zoom across a map by leaping from a great height as Demo. This add-on basically just doubles the distance you travel when doing so, allowing you to clear a ton of ground. Oni's is called Shattered Kanabo and is basically a speed limiter for Oni. Upon activating Blood Fury, your Kanabo slam attacks now only deal 1 health state of damage. However, you now move 20% faster and Blood Fury lasts 50% longer, allowing you to get around to much more survivors and potentially even deal out more damage if you're skilled with the ability. Deathslinger has the add-on Lengthened Chain. This add-on gives your spear gun infinite distance, but you can no longer damage survivors by the chain breaking. If the chain breaks whilst reeling, it does no damage. Therefore, this turns the spear gun into a tool to get survivors closer to you bit by bit, but you could theoretically do so from the other side of the map, which I think could be kind of funny. Pyramid Head has the add-on Silent Hill Brick, and it makes it so ranged attacks apply condemned, but also can no longer damage. However, if a condemned survivor walks across a trail of torment, they get damaged. It sort of flips the abilities basically of the ranged attack and the trails, allowing more control over applying condemned, but a greater struggle to get damage out of it. I think this could be a really interesting switch up. Blight's is called Unknown Compound. Every time you rush, you're inflicted with a random status effect. This can be literally any status effect in the game, and it also lasts for a random duration of between 1 to 30 seconds. So hey, you might get haste for 30 seconds, or you get hindered or blindness for 17 or something seconds, say. Basically, this serum has unstable effects and gives you random abilities. Twins add-on is called Smouldering Rag, and allows them to both be controllable at the same time. This would be possible by splitting your screen in half whenever Victor detaches. Upon doing so, the screen splits and you now control Victor with the arrow keys and Charlotte with WASD, allowing you to either play with a friend or simply try and control both at the same time, or easily switch between them. It probably wouldn't even be that good, but it would be fun, I think. Trickster gets limited edition soda, which makes it so the longer he throws his blades for, the faster he throws them, almost like a winding up or heating up machine. He starts off with the regular throw speed, then so long as you hold down the throw button, he'll continue to throw the blades even faster, almost like a machine gun by the end. But of course you need to still control and aim these, so that's sort of the catch. Nemesis is called Double Dose and makes it so your zombie numbers in the trial are doubled to 4. However, the zombies are now twice as stupid and will behave a lot more erratically. This of course has its benefits, having more zombies, it's always a nice thing, and could lead to more pressure, but the lowered intelligence of the zombies could also make it harder to get good use out of them. Pinhead gets Strengthened Chain, which makes it so after the survivor picks up and begins to solve the box, instead of teleporting, Pinhead now enacts a trap, causing the survivor who solved the box to be held in place by 6 chains. This allows Pinhead to then reach their position and potentially get a hit. However, if he's too far, then obviously the survivor will break free far sooner. It's an interesting trade-off, I think, losing the teleport but potentially gaining something stronger. Artist gets Thick Paint, an add-on which makes her crows damage for a health state, but they can't go through walls. Her crow numbers are reduced to 1. This means she can technically damage someone from across the map if there's no obstructions along the way. She can also damage mid-loop if the path is clear. However, she'll no longer be able to apply damage through walls or even apply a crow swarm through a wall. The crow must have direct line of sight. This would be an interesting dynamic, I think, and alter her playstyle considerably. Sadako has Glowing Videotape. With this add-on, there is now only 1 tape in the entire trial that is shared between all survivors. Sadako no longer applies Condemned by regular means, but instead must rely on the glowing tape to do it. The glowing tape spawns at the beginning of the trial and causes all survivors to gain Condemned until it gets picked up. Once picked up, the survivor who holds the tape will gain Condemned, but there's also no way to get rid of Condemned, so the tape must be passed from player to player to make sure no one gets fully condemned. Think of it sort of like tape hot potato, where you have to pass it around to make sure it doesn't explode in anyone's hands. Dredge's add-on is called Shattered Lightbulb, and will make it so the trial is always blanketed in darkness. However, Dredge can no longer teleport, so from the very start of the game the entire trial is dark and your visibility is limited as a survivor, and there's no way to get rid of this. Dredge does lose its ability to teleport though, requiring it to only use its spawnable teleport, and not the locker ones, or simply using the darkness to its advantage. Think of it almost like Lights Out. Wesker's add-on is called Shattered Sunglasses, and it has the simple effect of making the trial last a maximum of 7 minutes. A sort of challenge mode add-on that makes him live up to his words of only having 7 minutes to spare with you. Wesker has 7 minutes to kill all survivors, otherwise the exit gates are immediately powered regardless of the generator progress, allowing the survivors to escape far sooner. Knight has the add-on Waystone. This add-on lets you choose a position for a guard to stand and hold their position indefinitely instead of patrolling. So by a gen, by a pallet, or a loop, or by an exit gate for example, almost like a guard trap. Once the guard is triggered by a survivor, they begin a chase as usual. This could create a fun and new dynamic way to interact with the guards, but also play Knight, using the guards as traps or trigger points almost for information instead. Skull Merchant gets Remote Eyepiece, which allows her to look out of the drone's cameras. This would be great, allowing you to potentially gather information remotely, however would be restrictive still as you wouldn't be able to control or move the drone, but only look out from its rotating lens, which could even be filtered with a red overlay or something. It also of course would mean you would have to stand still briefly whilst looking through the drone's lens, which slows you down. Singularity gets Survivor DNA, an add-on which allows Singularity to enter and control the biopod attached to a survivor. So once you hit a survivor with a biopod or slipstream them, you're then able to enter the biopod attached to them, to track their position and figure out where they are. The downside of this is that you aren't able to shoot biopods out from their biopod. You're only able to look out of them, a bit like the cameras. But this could be very helpful and just quite funny too, looking out at the survivor from on top of them. Xenomorph gets Faulty Component, an add-on which makes the flame turrets act erratically. They now activate, but also deactivate at random times. Survivors can still move them around and place them in the usual way, however they now both activate and deactivate at random points in time. This allows for a potential advantage as the Xenomorph, with them deactivating as you arrive, but potentially also a huge disadvantage if you break a turret, then it immediately reactivates and starts to burn you again. Chucky gets Doll Hammer. Singularity, an add-on which lets him hide underneath pallets when scampering underneath them instead of passing all the way through. Whilst under a pallet, Chucky becomes completely undetectable and stops talking, so you could crawl under a pallet and hide there basically, and try to jump scare a survivor when you crawl out, with them likely missing you under there. Unknown's is called Survivor Blood, and makes it so Unknown becomes able to mimic the voices of survivors in the trial. So whichever survivors are in the trial, Unknown now begins to mimic their voice lines, their injured noises, and other sounds like falling sounds, whenever you're near Unknown or nearby to one of its hallucinations or mimics. This creating a creepy but also potentially quite strong ability, with it having a chance to genuinely trick the survivors, or just confuse them even. Vecna gets the add-on Relocation spell, where it causes all of the special magic chests within the trial to move to the basement. No longer are they scattered about the trial grounds, but are all located within the basement. This would be fun, I think, and sort of imitates Vecna's Horde. You can go down there and potentially get yourself fully kitted out and equipped with everything you need, possibly even a hand or an eye, but there's a chance for complete disaster if Vecna finds you and your teammates down there. It would make for some funny moments, I think. Dracula gets Ancient Coins, an add-on which alters his ranged fire pillar attack to actually act like fire. Now instead of instantly damaging, the fire pillar attack will take 16 seconds to apply damage after landing the hit, almost like it's applying a slow burn. However, you're also able to apply this to pallets, with pallets getting destroyed 16 seconds after getting burned. This could make for some fun moments, I think, where there's some delay, but you could actually align it or time it well to get a double hit or something. Houndmaster has Advanced Dog Training Manual number 43, an add-on which allows Houndmaster to learn highly advanced dog command techniques. When directing Snug toward a dropped survivor item, he'll fetch it and bring it back to your position, leaving it there. This could allow you to tactically set up traps or simply confuse survivors by repositioning their items. I think it could be pretty funny. Kaneki gets Rize's Organs, an add-on that gives Kaneki some verticality, allowing him to move between different floors, but at the cost of losing all his tokens when he does. So you can bound up to a higher level on a map, but you lose all of your tokens when you do it, and are placed into recharge mode. This can make for some interesting trade-off moments where you can surprise survivors by launching up to them and suddenly giving chase when they believe they are safe. Springtrap has Lost Hands, an add-on which makes Springtrap's axe now perform like Huntress's, with it being chargeable and capable of being thrown a great distance. The downside here is that he's no longer able to summon it back to him remotely, and instead must grab it out of the survivor if embedded, or go and collect it physically if he misses. This could be quite interesting, with there being occasions where it's definitely stronger to have a Huntress axe, but many others where it may be more of a hindrance. Krasu gets Suspicious Potion, an add-on which forces her to always be in her Krasu form, the floating head form. This means you can no longer instantly apply Leech and must first apply it gradually with use of your attacks in head form. To sort of balance this out, I think having half the number of glowing fungus spawns would make this fair. With this, you'd start out the trial a lot weaker honestly, but by the end could be a whole lot stronger potentially. Vecna or Henry gets Strange Fungus, an add-on that allows him to enter the survivor's vision once their clock progress is fully completed. A bit like in the show where Vecna uses Will as a spy, Vecna is able to transfer his mind into the survivors briefly and see what they're up to from the first person. Potentially the giveaway for this for the survivors can be that the survivor having their vision entered could have glowing red eyes. That could be pretty cool. Alright, well, that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed, and let me know your ideas too down below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.